Hi, boys and girls. I believe we're live. Who knows? Who fucking knows these days? Anyway, here with Rational Empiricist, the inventor of the bristle question. And yeah, there we go. God damn.
Yeah.
I caught it. I caught it. Yay.
Who knows? We might be not live in the quantum realm or something.
Yeah, I know. Well, YouTube lately has been like the quantum realm. It's been doing weird things on my TV and everywhere else. It's pretty odd.
But you can imagine like interpretations where like at this very moment you in one reality, I guess, you decided to go live, and in a different reality you didn't go live, and the wave function just kind of split, which is really freaky. Anyway, sorry.
Let's see. How are our voice levels? Because I don't want to turn you up too high.
Yeah.
So checking relative voice levels, my friends out there. Somebody could tell us. Oh shit! There goes the neighborhood. Hang on a second. I'm in the middle of sharing a screen, Leo.
Okay.
Leo just came in. Dismantling junk DNA by Strangling the Truth. Okay. Hey, man.
Oh,
Leo. Can we hear Leo?
Can you? I don't know.
Oh,
maybe.
Yeah, we
maybe
can.
Not.
You actually got a great radio voice.
Oh yeah.
I really don't think so.
Huh? Really?
Really?
You really do. Yeah, when you turn it down when you're not too excited and you're doing it low like that, that's a good voice. Rivals even the Smoky Saint.
Hello and welcome to All Things Considered, where we talk really softly and right into the mic.
Fucking hey, I'm just gonna write my shit and I'm gonna have you speak it.
That would be pretty awesome.
As long as Amelia Clark approves of my voice, which I have a feeling she would. She'd probably approve of some other things, maybe.
Oh,
maybe. Not likely.
Scott, yeah, he's got a great PBS voice.
Yeah, PBS voice, that is.
Do you think you could ever narrate a documentary or something for like Nova?
Me?
Yeah.
Narrate? I wouldn't want to narrate it. I'd rather like be in it explaining some cool sciencey shit.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Let me turn down Charlie and the Chocolate Factory here. There we go. And then the next step, even though it's 2:03 in the afternoon, it's well, number one, it's 5 o'clock somewhere, and number two, it's December fucking 31st. I'm drinking, god damn it. Gosh darn it.
You're already drinking, man? It's like
this is my second beer of the day, actually.
Oh dear.
I live in Iowa. Come on, Speedy, you should know this. Like where we live, like beer is just it's a staple for all times.
Yeah, it's water.
There are times I've woken up and the first thing I do is have a beer, then a cup of coffee.
Yeah.
A cup of coffee.
Oh, in my day, the beer used to grow on trees, you know.
Yeah, yeah. When I was a kid, they'd make me chocolate milk, but they'd use beer instead of milk.
Yep, chocolate beer. Oh yeah.
So, we were raised on that shit. My dad used to brew it in the basement. It was really fun. You'd be watching TV, and all of a sudden you'd hear boom and shattering glass. It was my old man's beer blowing up. Like after he bottled it, sometimes he bottled it with a little too much sugar in it. It was fucking good too. He made this really interesting beer.
So I need to ask Ian, how's 2021? It's pretty stable so far.
Yeah, Ian, how is it over there? Any fucking disasters? Because my prediction is it's a decade, not the year that's fucked. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. It's going to be the 20s we're going to talk about. I'm going to be so sorry. Okay, so who's this ass? Okay. Oh, yeah. I think he has a channel called Standing for Truth. And oddly enough, he never He lies a lot. It's like, what the fuck is wrong with this guy? My favorite part was this right here. The other day when, so he's talking. He's got a clip from. The other nice thing about him is he cuts out his lies out of a bigger stream and he republishes them. So he restreams them.
Oh wait, so he does segments?
Yeah. He took he was talking to Snake was right, and he cut a piece out and he rebroadcasted it. So at least that's the way it seems.
Well, yeah, that's something you see more from like actual streamers. Like Vosh does that. I'm pretty sure Destiny does that. They call them segments, where they'll like do a 3, 4, 5 hour stream, but they'll talk about like one particular topic for half an hour in that stream, and they'll cut that part out and re-upload it as a separate video.
Hey, happy birthday, John.
Thank you.
Happy birthday.
How old are you now? 40?
57.
Ooh, you are coming up on the big 6-0.
Oh, why the fuck will this not?
And we're gonna have a talk with you before you get there, because
why in the fuck will it not?
I got this.
Oh shit!
Trying to slide this window over it. And every time I try, it just pops right back.
all of us older people, we take you youngins under our wing when you start approaching the big 6-0, and we have to explain some things to you about certain functions that are no longer ever going to work again.
Stop.
Are you referring to my dick not working anymore?
The brain is the second thing to go. So that's the second one. We'll see. Okay. I'm going to play a clip, okay?
Okay.
Yeah, sure.
What the fuck happened to my screen share? My screen share.
Who knows?
It quantum tunneled.
Add to stream. Okay, let's see if you can hear this, because I took it out and I put it back in.
You were terrible. Fucking.
And good point. The onion problem is definitely a good point to make.
Oh, fuck.
They are larger.
Okay, let me give you some background. Of course, Will brought up that the onion genome is, what is it, like 16 billion or 24 billion bases? Like 3 or 4 times the size of ours.
I don't know. I don't study onions.
Yeah, don't.
Well, I know there's like a fern with. I know there's like a species of fern with like 1,200 chromosomes or something. So yeah, plants can get ridiculous with that.
Yeah, but that's not the case with the onion. It's not polyploidy. The genome is actually very big. It's a haploid, and there's another one called garlic, I think, that has far less. If you look across Allium, which is the I think is that the species, they're all different. Basically, they have like from around the size of humans all the way up to these astronomical genomes. But let's see what Stanley comes up with.
So when you say Stanley, you're talking about Standing for Truth, right?
Strangling the Truth, yes.
Yeah, and it just that's why when you played that first 30 seconds and I heard whose voice it was, that's why I moaned like, oh fuck.
Yeah, here we go.
I find it very interesting that he's bringing up the genetics of plants, since he is really got about the intelligence of a Boston fern.
The only thing I know about onions is apparently they're like ogres.
They're like ogres?
Yeah.
Oh dear.
I'm not surprised that Speed doesn't get that joke.
No, I don't
I
get
don't get that either.
I'm not surprised that either of those two don't get it. It's from
Okay,
Shrek.
let's knock off the fucking ageism, okay? Oh, SpongeBob? Are you talking about SpongeBob?
No, it's from Shrek.
Oh, Shrek. Well, I watched Shrek.
What are you doing in my swamp?
Well, I watched Shrek, but you know what, Leo? I didn't feel I had to fucking memorize the movie.
Yeah.
Well, neither do I. That's just it's a scene that stands out.
It just went through me like bacon. Okay.
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 Plants can't move. Okay, they can't put on a jacket if it's cold out. Okay, so if you're looking at temperature fluctuations, pH changes, for example, acid rain, for example, you name it. Okay, so plants are they are constantly facing negative environmental changes, okay? And it can't do anything. So it has to adapt quickly or it dies. So therefore, even like an animal, if you look at certain animals that can adapt, they can move underground. For example, humans, we can in our house put a coat on. So
Okay, that's enough of this motherfucker. Now, first of all,
I didn't know the ability to move underground was genetic.
yeah, he thinks okay, he is saying that onions have big genomes because they can't put a parka on, they can't put a jacket on, they can't run away, and they might run into some bad pH. And this and he does this so seriously, but then let's there's one other thing he does here at the end, so we have to listen to a little bit.
Well, yeah,
bigger genomes.
but here's the thing too. Hold on, real quick. It's funny though. Okay, so he's bringing up the complexity of the onion's genome as opposed to higher life forms, but you would think that he would stay away from that, because if his worldview is correct and God designed these things, then that's kind of stupid, ain't it?
Well, this is his way of getting around it. God designed the onion so that because the onion can't run away, and God apparently cared about the onion, but he didn't care about garlic because garlic has a smaller genome, I believe, like much smaller. So he didn't give a shit about garlic, but he did like the onion a lot. And there are other plants that have small genomes. He didn't give a fuck about those plants, but the onion was his special little friend. So he designed in the ability to withstand glaciers, and like onions, man, they can withstand volcanoes, glaciers. They can grow in the desert. You've seen onion fields in the desert, right?
I've never been to a desert.
Actually, there are no fucking onion fields in the desert.
Oh.
Onions don't have any more adaptability than any other plant, and so, but he gets away with this shit. And then he goes and does, let's see, I don't think it's too long.
Redundant purposes. Backup redundancy. And here's my question to you. I find...
Okay, that part right there. So he spiels out some inane bullshit that has nothing to do with science, I mean, I looked for papers on onions being more adaptable and using other parts of their genome. I can't fucking find any. So he pulled this out of his ass. He preaches... And then he says he does this.
Purpose. Move underground, for example, humans, we can go in our house, put a coat on. So they need bigger genomes for redundant purposes. Backup redundancy. And here's my question to you.
Here's my question to you. So he puts out this inane bullshit, and he always says, and here's my question to you. And then he takes you into another subject, right? So he always makes sure that you cannot respond to this absolute bullshit that he just spewed out of his ass, pulled out of his ass, put it in his mouth, and spewed it at you. And here's my question to you. He does this all the time. This guy is pure bullshit preacher. He does not give a shit about anything to do with science. I guarantee it. That's all he cares about is preaching to you and converting you. He doesn't believe half of the stuff he says. He just cares about preaching. And I think that extends to every single one of them, right down to Sal Cordova, who gets a little more detailed into the science. But, I mean, think about it. These guys claim to be doing science. Now, if your job was to figure out some reaction that happened in the atmosphere that we had to figure out, and it was a very complicated 10-step reaction, right? And somewhere in that reaction, there was, some chlorination, but there was one really complicated step that had to do, as it turns out, it had to do with a magnesium ion or something, right? Okay. And it was a catalyst. But in the Bible, they said that magnesium was from the devil. It was like sulfur from the devil. So if in their Bible, now imagine that they had a Bible that says this. Of course, the Bible does not say this, but if their Bible did say that, they would say that magic happened on that step. So these guys who pretend to do science are claiming that at any point in the process, magic could have happened.
Did you see Scott Duke?
What did he say?
Genome mythology.
Oh, how far back is that?
Not
Not
very.
too far back.
Oh, it
Oh,
was from,
yeah.
has
I
he-
mean, and, you know, like, and the other thing is that I noticed out of SFT in just about every debate or discussion I've ever is he has this idea that that any genetic change is always like, how does he put it? I forget how he puts it, but that it's he doesn't, it seems like he doesn't think of it as a mutation. He thinks of it as a step forward, that there always has to be some added fucking benefit for the biology that he's talking about in a mutation. Like he
Right.
always thinks that well, it's adding information, it's making it better, it's making it bigger. And that's not what it is,
Yeah.
Well, yeah, he keeps using the argument of like a car rusting, for instance, even when that doesn't apply to biology in any way.
Yeah. Yeah, these guys, I don't know. They're putting out a bunch of rhetoric and they're doing it for a reason. They are the quintessential Jehovah's Witness at your door, shoving the watchtower into your face and trying to convert you over to this Christian worldview, which has with it the baggage of loving Trump's ass, licking Trump's ass, hating, downplaying pandemics, upplaying the end of the earth, which they think is coming soon, trying to convince you that everybody's getting more mutant, trying to convince you that the flesh is evil, anything pleasurable or having anything to do with material is evil. And they have this whole pile of bullshit, and they're trying to evangelize us using science.
Well, and it's unfortunate too, because okay, so SFT is an adult, and those guys are adults, and I'm sure in their spheres there must be some children that listen to what they say.
Fuck yeah.
And that's unfortunate. I mean, because like SFT gets everything wrong, but at the same time, he has what would be considered above average communication skills.
Yeah.
He could be on the radio. He could be somewhere selling you a car, maybe. I mean, he's that kind of guy.
He's that kind of guy.
And here he is selling bullshit, and there's minds out there that are not completely formed, but that may be hearing his bullshit and buying into it.
Yeah. Yeah, he is the quintessential cross between a ShamWow salesman and a Jehovah's Witness.
Yeah.
It's fucking amazing. And then we have Nephilimfree. Nephilimfree he did a fun thing. Does anybody else have anything burning items that you want to talk about, or?
Oh, I'd like to mention something real quick.
Go ahead.
All right, so there's going to
I do too.
There's going to be a what do they call it when two channels are streaming the same shit? Is it a
Simulcast.
Simulcast on Will Kincaid's channel and Smokey's channel tonight. And I'm not bringing this up because I think anybody should go watch it.
I was going to mention it.
Yeah. Well,
What are they simulcasting?
I want to bring up the fact that anybody who takes part in the stream, as far as I'm personally concerned, is dead to me and a shit fucking human being. Okay. Yep. And the idea, okay, the thumbnail for this fucking stream, which is called something like Parent of the Decade or Father of the Decade or something. And on the fucking thumbnail, there's a picture of Nakasuchi standing next to fucking G-Man, whatever the manatee's real name is, Brett Keane. Yeah, Brett Keane. Is that Hilton and Shani. Okay, as if Nakasuchi as a parent is somehow comparable to those fucking horrible people. Vaughn has had his kids taken away 11 times. So I just bring it up to reinforce the idea, which most people already know, that Smokey Saint is a subhuman piece of shit, and that Will Kincaid is in the same category with him. Please, guys, if you hear me saying this, fucking sue me for slander. I'd love it if you would, because, I could show reams and reams of proof that you guys are shit fucking human beings. Okay. And the truth is a defense for defamation. So yeah, please, if you don't like what I'm saying about you, please come after me for it. But yeah, I bring this up just to say that I'm not going to watch it, but I'm going to go when it's done, and I'm going to watch it when it posts as a video, just to take note of who the people are who took part in it, and those people will be non-entities for the rest of my life.
Yeah,
I didn't know G-Man was a father.
oh my God, what a frightening thing.
Yeah, he abandoned his kids.
Well, why am I not surprised by that? Also, there's only 761 subscribers between Smokey and Will together. I'm not really concerned that this is just like a non-thing.
Yeah, well, I kind of like it.
Number two, neither Smokey nor Will are fathers or would have any fucking clue of how to be a good father, in my opinion. Especially Smokey.
I heard about this from the Rage a couple hours ago. And I like Will Kincaid. I kind of think his humor is wonderful. But if he's going on this thing for any other reason but to make fun of Smokey and basically troll him, then as far as I'm concerned, fuck Will too. Fuck Will. And I got to tell you though, John, and you got to tell Knock this. The only thing I've heard from Smokey, other than him popping into my stream the other day, is when you guys mention him. So he is like kind of dead to my world, and he's not growing. His subscriber base is not growing.
It's shrinking slowly, but it's shrinking.
His view counts are down, and I think he's really is a dead issue, and he should be.
Oh, I know. We went and we've put him away, and I think Knock had something to say earlier today when he saw about that stream. I showed up at that stream a little late. And then between me and the chat, we convinced them, Knock, the best thing you can do is don't even watch that. Don't even comment on it. They want to get a reaction out of you. The thing that would make them feel the worst is if you never say a word about it.
Yeah, if he just totally ignored it. And
if somebody brings it up, be like, I don't know what stream you're talking about. I guess I only pay attention to channels that matter. By the way, Ian, no, Smokey isn't a dad. He can't get a woman to sleep with him, so.
No. Well, it may have been non-consensual. I don't know.
And that's not consensual on the woman's part.
I'll tell you, if some motherfucker...
if a sweat sock can get pregnant, he might be a dad.
There's one point where you can get punched in the face by any human being, and that is when you start talking about their children. And and the kind of people that do that, cowardly hiding behind some icon and hiding their identity and their address, are just fucking pieces of shit. Yeah. I can't believe that he is still continuing.
Well, and I got to tell you, Speed, I respect your opinion on things, and you're entitled to your own opinion, but I'm going to be DMing you some fucking timestamps and some videos and stuff, and then you go ahead and you make a reevaluate just decision of what you think of Will, even irrespective of tonight's broadcast, because he's already proven himself to be a human shit stain.
Yeah.
Okay, I will take a look at that.
You know why I was in prison, right?
Yeah, I know.
Okay,
and I know they brought it up. Was that Will?
Hey. Anybody can bring it up anytime they want. It gives me the opportunity to talk about it and to advise people not to drink and drive. Very important to me. But he drew a cartoon of me, the upper portion of which was my body, and the lower portion of which was wheels.
I heard about this with blood.
And he said that he was telling me that you do this or do that, or I'm going to paint blood on the wheels. And I said, well, go right ahead, man. That's fine. You're not disrespecting me if you do something like that. You're disrespecting my victim and my victim's family. Well, that epitomizes Will Kincaid right there.
Yeah. And they came after me when I was honest about being a meth addict, and I don't know, they're just assholes.
Well, the problem is it shows that people like you guys are capable of owning your past and owning the mistakes that you've done.
Yeah.
These people are making fun of you because they can't. Let's be honest here. We both know that people like, especially people like Will, but Smokey too, probably have some fucked up shit they've done in their past, whether to themselves or to other people. They'll never talk about it. They'll never open up about it because they're scared to own it. They're fucking cowards.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to handle this Nephilim thing, I think, at another time because I don't want to be on past 3 today. I got to go finish my dip and get ready for tonight.
You said finish your what?
Dip. I'm making dip, 7-layer dip. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. We're having to get together with 2/3 of my children tonight. So.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Wait, hold on. Many said that Nicholas Whitmer went to prison. Okay, number one, did he go to prison or did he go to jail? Because there is a difference. Number two,
I think it was. I think he said it spent
how do we
jail
know
time.
that he went?
He said so. He used to talk about it. That he was in prison or jail or I don't know. I'm not American. I don't differentiate.
I think it was over a drug charge or something, which is like, I don't know, half the people in the 60s went to jail for a drug charge.
I'm assuming he was in jail because if Nicholas Whitmer went to prison, I don't think he'd be alive. Doesn't he live in California or some shit like that?
Yeah, I think he did.
If he went to prison in that state, he was somebody's bitch. I mean, there's no yeah, nothing but big ass black dudes on his pale white ass all day long.
Yep.
Can I go to jail in California?
Yeah,
what do you have to do to get in?
If you committed a crime, Benny, and got sentenced to prison, that would be like Club Med for you.
I know. I have this problem with gravity. I keep dropping the soap. It's really.
Oh, the soap is so slippery.
So what is it? The difference between jail and prison? I don't know. It depends on where you are. Some jails are really bad.
No, I mean, but the distinct difference is that jail is state, or is usually local incarceration, and prison is when you go upstate.
Yeah.
So what are we watching? What are we doing? What are we critiquing? Why is Leo here? How you doing,
I'm
Leo?
everywhere.
Speaking of prison rape, Midnight's here.
Wow, God. I take back what I said yesterday. No happy birthday for you.
Can I shill something really quickly? Speed.
No. Yes.
Speed.
Pay me.
Speed.
What?
Can I shill something really quickly?
Yeah.
I like how Midnight answers Midnight because Midnight's getting Speed's books when he dies. He thinks he owns the channel.
This Saturday at 7 p.m. Eastern, I will be debating a Robertson-Jenis on whether or not the Earth is at the center of the universe, which doesn't have a center.
Fuck me.
I'm kind of bummed. It's going to be a boring topic. I was really looking forward to debating does quantum mechanics point to a creator with Rick Delano, but his secretary, whatever the fuck you want to call the dude, couldn't get a hold of him. That kind of bums me out.
Leo, if you look at the sky and you try to assess how the universe is expanding, it would appear as if it's expanding out of Earth, right? That's how it would appear.
It would appear as if it's expanding from whatever point in space-time the observer was looking from.
Right?
I.e., there is no center.
So, from our perspective, appears to put us in the middle of the universe, right at the center.
No.
How do you go from that, which I understand completely, to the universe has no center? That can't be true.
The universe doesn't have a center.
No, it doesn't.
But how?
So if I drew a bunch of black dots on a balloon,
wait a minute. Wouldn't that have to presuppose that the universe is infinite?
Nope.
Nope.
If I drew a bunch of black dots on a balloon and started blowing the balloon up, inflating the balloon, if you focused on one of the black dots, it would look like all the other black dots are moving away from that one. And it would do that regardless of which dots you did it from.
And I understand that. I understand that analogy. I've heard it before. But even in that analogy, there is a center point inside the balloon that you could calculate.
No, there's actually not.
There's a center because the fucking balloon is a finite size, and there is a center point inside the balloon within its interior that you could calculate, which is the center of the balloon.
Not from its expansion. You couldn't. A balloon does not actually inflate uniformly.
Okay, Leo is going abstract on you, John, and he's not seeing what you're saying. So
Let's say that every point can appear as if it is the center, and you cannot in any way determine where it is.
Because there is no center. There is no center to determine because there isn't one.
Because if I was a being that could step outside the universe and look at the universe off in the distance, I could use math and calculate what the center of that thing is.
No.
That's absolutely ridiculous. I don't care how scientifically minded you guys are. It has a fucking center. Okay.
No, there's not.
Actually, I'm with John.
It does. I'm sorry.
Okay,
I know Leo is correct.
guys, hold on.
I would invite John to receive his Nobel Prize in physics because literally no cosmologist would agree.
No, just because nobody can find it doesn't mean it's
No,
not.
it's that there isn't one. There is no center to the universe. The universe does not have a center.
Don't make me.
I don't know how you can prove that. You always speak so definitively, Leo, as if you've been all over the universe.
No, he's
It has
John,
nothing to do with that. It has to do with the math.
John is someone who agrees with you that it makes absolutely no sense.
Okay, guys. Hey, anyway, I just want when I say hold on a minute, it usually means that I have some moderator stuff to do. But anyway, a fucking philosopher just walked into the room.
Oh, hey, Danny.
Hey guys, I think
Go
what John
ahead.
is talking
Now you can
about.
continue. Huh?
I think what John is talking about is something like there's these abstract objects that that we call into question as far as their existence, like an equator, point at center of mass, right? Is that what you're denying, Leo? Like the existence of these things?
No, I'm saying what literally every relevant professional that knows more than all of us in this room combined would say. There is no
You guys
center.
are talking about a metaphor. It's a metaphor with the balloon expanding, right? And they're taking it to another level and saying there's a center to the balloon. I didn't follow the whole thing because it doesn't fucking matter.
Well, typically, like center of mass is not
Except
like
to a philosopher.
a center of mass doesn't have any extension, right? So it's not going to be like observable like an atom. And I think that some people want to say those are useful fictions, like equators. Like there's like an equator of the Earth, right? But if you were to go on that spot, it's not like you will see the equator, right? But it's like, I guess, a sort of imaginary for some, right?
Yeah, it's an abstraction.
Well, yeah, if it's an abstraction, there's still a question of whether it exists or not. And so there's a big debate. I mean, what I'm saying is that there's a debate in philosophy about whether things like centers of mass, equators, like longitude, latitude, whether these are mental, non-mental entities or just not entities at all.
Well, I mean,
Yeah, because you guys like to confuse yourself.
When you're talking about like the equator or the circumference of a globe, of course, that could be placed anywhere on the globular object, and it would still be, what you would call the equator, or it wouldn't, necessarily be the equator, but it would be a circumference the same size as, what we call the equator on the Earth here. I mean, and then when you talk, my point is what I made to Leo, and he just wants to say no, like, I mean, which is to me utterly ridiculous.
Well,
is that
he might just say it's a useful fiction, right?
But what I'm saying is, if you do this thought experiment. If I was a being who could step outside the universe, and the universe is finite, it's not infinite. I'm saying if that were true, and I could step outside the universe and observe the universe as a thing off in the distance from my viewpoint, I could calculate what the center of that object or whatever you want to call it is.
I mean,
the problem
sure,
with that
but
thought
there's not
experiment is it's incoherent. It would be like saying if I could step north of the North Pole, there's no.
It's not incoherent because it's a fucking thought experiment, dude.
Wait,
thought experiment makes no sense. Like saying if I could step north of the North Pole, which nobody could do, nobody knows what
it's
you
not like that. Even
that because you can't do it because it's incoherent.
But
Yeah,
just,
but John,
fucking obstinate, Leo. I mean, I can't even believe it.
No,
John,
it's just.
okay.
wait, why wouldn't that just be a useful fiction? Why wouldn't that just, John? Why wouldn't that just be a useful fiction? Like you can predicate. Like I think Harry Potter has a scar, but I don't have to think that Harry Potter exists in order to make that statement. In the same way that
Calculating the center of something has nothing to do with whether Harry Potter exists.
No, you're not getting it. The point is that we can talk about the center of mass, we can talk about the equator without actually affirming its existence, right? So you can make all these calculations, right? And they could be all true statements with respect to all the work that you've done, right? But it still doesn't have, you're not like sort of it doesn't imply that there's an existence to these things, right? At least for a nominalist, right?
Okay, if I hand you a brick, okay, could you measure that brick and determine what its center of mass is?
Yeah, but that doesn't mean that the
Okay,
center of
all
mass
right, well,
exists.
that's it. That's all as far as you got to go. Okay.
But no,
Because you guys act as if because you're scientifically minded and you're philosophically minded,
not
that
listening.
you know everything that there is to know.
you're just not listening.
I don't think anyone's saying that,
I
John.
am listening. I'm saying that.
Look, what we're
the
saying,
idea that
I think
people-
what Leo and many other physicists might say is that you can make these calculations, right? You can talk about a center of mass, you can talk about longitude and latitude, but that doesn't mean they exist. In the same way that we can talk about...
They exist. How do they not exist? If you calculate,
you're going to have to give an argument for why they do exist, other than the fact that you can make calculations.
Calculate the center of mass of something, that exists.
No, look,
Whether
I can
it's an
calculate...
abstract idea or not, it exists.
Look, you're so emotional. Listen to
I'm not being
listen
emotional.
to yourself,
No,
right?
no.
Look, I just hate
can I-
people that think they're so fucking smart trying to talk to
You're
me
just
like I'm
so
dumb.
emotional. We might.
I'm not being emotional.
Danny,
It's just that
Danny, John,
you talk in
Look,
a
he's
superior-
yelling.
You
Are you
talk
not
in a
hearing this, man?
superior. You
Because
talk in a
people are
superior-
interrupting
Shut
him.
the fuck up for 1 second. You talk in a superior manner to everybody you fucking talk to, and you are no better than any other human being. So shove it up your fucking ass.
Anyway, moving on. The
No,
point
no,
is
no.
that
Yeah, we are moving on. Fuck you.
Okay,
So-
we got to pull it in, guys. Okay, hang
I
on.
hate this motherfucker. I fucking hate him. He's a
I kind of
piece
like the guy,
garbage.
but
He's a piece of fucking garbage.
so,
can I
like,
interject
and for
one?
instance, if you think about like Harry Potter,
I don't want to
we
think
can
about
make-
Harry Potter.
I'm-
Shut the
I'm-
fuck up.
I can tell you
Shut
don't
the
talk to me.
fuck up. I don't want
But-
to talk about it anymore. I don't want to hear what you have to say. Now you're just going on because you see I'm irritated and you want to exacerbate the situation.
I would encourage
Shut your
everyone to watch
shut your
my
fucking
debate this
punk-ass
Saturday.
fucking mouth. And I haven't been this pissed in a long fucking time, dude. You are a piece of fucking garbage. I know why Nicola doesn't like you. You're garbage, dude.
okay, John, rein it in, please. Rein
I
it
mean,
in.
it's
Not here,
like
not here, John.
Superman
I'm sure there's other
perspective.
races
I don't
Nicola
really
doesn't
care.
like him,
They
but
bounce
yeah.
off me. But
How could
look,
it be? How could it be racist?
look,
Okay,
so-
Wait, what?
What?
I
Who
don't know,
said?
somebody said something about
John's
racism.
not a racist
No.
person.
No.
I-
Anyway.
I didn't say. Did I say? I didn't say that. I didn't say that.
I don't even know what race he is.
Okay.
I mean,
John,
I've been trying to say something since
breathe.
before Danny came on. So,
Go ahead.
John, all of my intuitions, all of my understanding of reality agrees with you because I don't know physics, and what you're saying sounds as logical can get. But I don't know why. I know Leo is correct according to cosmologists, but I don't know the explanations or the why. I agree with you. If you think of the universe as an object,
Which
then
is
it
wrong.
must have a center.
And that's the
and-
problem. The universe is not an object. You cannot think of the universe like
Okay,
a ball
so
or anything like that. And people try
okay,
to
so
do
so
that. That's just not
let me
correct.
let me make the simple suggestion that John, either we try to read up on this or listen to Leo's debate and try and
That's what I would
grasp
say.
the
That's what I-
science behind this, or let it go.
That's why I said just let it go. I don't want to talk about it anymore. It's fucking dumb.
Okay, cool.
argument.
Fucking,
You know.
this is fucking insane.
But Danny, you and I have to have that dualism talk at some point.
at some point,
Soon.
but I mean, the point is that like with respect to calculations, like you could
Oh
make
my God,
calculations.
dude.
Okay,
Oh
wait,
my God.
wait a minute,
Yeah,
Danny. We're
stop
supposed
it.
to be
We're not
letting
talking
it go. We're letting
Oh, we're
it
letting
go.
it go. Okay, okay.
We're letting it go.
Yeah.
Okay, let's move on. Obviously, not the venue. Anyway, fuck.
So
Am I
let's
supposed
go
to
back
be
to hating on the creatards. We're good at that. It unites us around a common enemy.
unites? And yeah, we don't want to try to do what they do, sit and fight with each other every night over some
Yeah.
biblical fucking passage.
Do they do that?
What
And
were
it's
they?
New Year's.
They were fighting last night over one. What they were going on about? What the hell was it? Something about where Eden was and what the rivers meant and shit like that.
Well, the thing is that there is obviously the Garden of Eden is not a real place. It was a story written about.
It's at the center of the universe.
It was a story written about a place that existed. There were supposedly 3 rivers, and it was sort of I want to say three rivers. There was a delta where they met, and that is now underneath the. I can't really look at this map. It's probably not going to tell me much.
It's in Iraq.
It's under. It is probably 100+ feet under the Arabian Sea right now.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. It's somewhere in Iraq or so. It's the Prat, the Hidekel, and I forget the name of the third one. I think Gihon maybe are the 3 rivers that were supposed to surround Eden.
I'm going to drop over fucking dead right now. Stephanie Trenton just actually posted something that didn't have ellipses at the end of it.
Oh my god!
Holy shit, she did.
She ran out of ellipses. Okay, she ran out up there. She finally ran out. She got to the bottom of that bag. She's going to have to go back to Costco and buy some more ellipses. Because
it was the Tigris and the Euphrates River, and I cannot remember the name of the third one.
no, but last night they were arguing that it wasn't really
I
those
don't know what you
rivers.
call it in English.
They said it wasn't those rivers. It was like something to do with a twisting and a shining, and there were 3 words in Hebrew. Do you know what they are, Manny?
So like
weeping and moaning and gnashing of teeth.
So Euphrates, we call it Prat, very short, and the Tigris, I'm not sure. One of them is named in Hebrew Hidekel. I don't remember the third. We pronounce.
His Dickin?
Hidekel.
Okay. Yes.
Gihon is the other one.
Gihon. I said Gihon. I remember Gihon. I'm good.
Speed was actually correct. It is 4 rivers associated with the Garden of Eden. The other one is Pishon.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they have some other meaning. Do they have another meaning in Hebrew that's more common, like a twisting and a shining, or?
No, I don't know. Gihon sounds like something that emerges. Because lehagiach is to emerge or to come out of something. The other ones, I don't know.
He was expressing the point that it was 4 different concepts that came together in this one spot, and that Eden was actually the universe.
Yeah, whatever.
Yeah.
Look, you can philosophize and mystificate and obfuscate. The story is there were 4 rivers, and it's in Iraq. So cut the bullshit. That's the story. Now you can draw like a mystical interpretation. That's cool, but you can't just ignore the actual text.
Well, you should draw a mystical interpretation because the whole Bible is poetry about life.
Yeah,
I mean, they didn't fucking mean to have you take it seriously.
I have heard people who are biblical scholars, and I would wonder Manny's opinion on this. People that know the original languages and a lot about the cultures that these people would have existed within when the Bible was written over the course of like 1,600, 1,700 years, and they said that they would look at young Earth creationists today and die laughing at the absurd.
Oh yeah, of course.
Believe.
So look, it's a bit complicated because we know that Genesis was meant as not poetry. I can't remember. Basically, to show that what's his face, the Jewish God, is stronger and bigger than all the gods of the Mediterranean, mostly the Babylonian ones.
If you look at Christianity from the standpoint of Buddhism, it makes a fuck ton more sense. If you look at it from the outside, and look at it as basically myth about, you know, the nature of God or the nature of reality in the universe. And it all makes a hell of a lot more sense when you.
I don't think that a lot of, especially Bible thumpers, realize that the people who wrote the Bible, even if they said, hey, we're being literal, they weren't. They were writing very, not, I mean, metaphorically is somewhat of a word you could use, but that's not the word I'm looking for.
Allegory, maybe?
Yeah, they allegorically. They were not writing things. They were writing in terms of analogies and representations and all of this stuff. And this was not. It was never something that was meant to be taken prima facie. That's just
Yeah, it's like
not what its purpose was.
Yeah, and you've got
it's
the.
like,
Go ahead.
one of the best examples is the ages you have for people in the Bible. We know these ages were attributed to people all around the Mediterranean, and that they have, we call it, what do you call it, typological numbers. It's like numbers that have a mystical significance.
Yeah.
So nobody actually thinks that Methuselah lived 900 years unless they're a moron. Okay,
Well,
it's
there's a lot of
supposed to
morons
stand
out
for
there,
something.
Yeah, and if you look at, and then if you look at the Hebrew God, you know, the sort of a dark, mean, angry universe, the raw reality of the universe, and then you look at the New Testament where Jesus comes along and tries to convince you that he is God, and he's saying, eat my flesh and eat my blood and become as God. That is an entirely Buddhist message. So Christianity is sort of the bringing of the Buddhist, you are one with God or you are one with the universe. Identity is bullshit idea from Buddhism. And if you look at it from that point of view, it's some useful poetry, basically. But
there's a lot of poetry in the Bible.
But the thing is, the Bible also is also a codex of laws, and those were not meant to be metaphorical or allegorical or anything.
Yeah, and those were, at the time they were probably pretty good ideas. I don't know.
So it like mixes in all kinds of, some of it is history, some is law, some is allegory,
some is poetry, some is metaphor.
I must have missed something. I must have zoned out because I could have swore you were talking about like some of the laws in the Bible, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I could have swore I heard you say that they were probably good ideas.
For the time. Examining it within the historical context of the time period that it was written.
I mean, when would it ever be a good idea to say kill someone who mixes their fabrics?
Yeah, well,
I didn't exist 2,000 years ago. I can't answer that.
Well, I think that's where the New Testament come in and sort of softened the whole thing and made it more of a, it's like fucking lighten up, dudes.
Yeah, it's like maybe these guys were, kind of being dicks. Let's tone it down here. Let's you know what, if you're wearing some wool and some cotton mixed together, we're not gonna stone you. We might get you stoned, but we're not gonna stone you.
And John, some of those laws we know were meant to differentiate the Israelites from other people. So maybe this law only appears because other people did it, other Canaanite nations, and they wanted to make themselves to take themselves apart from those nations. Like, we're better. We don't mix our fabrics here,
So okay.
Yeah, sorry.
A rational empiricist has a question for Leo if we don't want to stay on that topic. If we've beaten that one to death, I don't know. Oh, silence, dead air.
Oh.
Andrew? Do you guys want to switch away from that and address Andrew's question?
I'm just going with the flow. I'm up for whatever.
That was Andrew's question.
Yeah, it hasn't been stated yet, or you haven't talked about it yet. You're trying to figure out a physics concept?
Yeah, just some a little bit of quantum physics and a little bit of cosmology, I guess.
Okay.
Ask away. Ask away, dear boy.
Okay.
My child.
So, Leo, have you ever so I guess this is a question about quantum superposition. Have you ever what do you think is a good way to respond to the misconception that superposition is a particle or a quantum object being in multiple states at once?
That quantum objects are never actually objects. They're distributions of probabilities of something that's not really an object in the everyday sense existing in a set of positions. The best way I can explain it is with some math that's really not that advanced or hard to understand. If somebody knows what a coordinate space is and knows what a vector is, they'd be capable of understanding it, but I don't know if we should go down that road or not. I can. It's not, it doesn't take a super long time, but
I mean, sure, why not? Why let Steve McRae have all the boring math episodes?
So I mean, it's up to you, Andrew, since you're the one that asked the question.
I mean, yeah, I mean, like if you have a whiteboard or something, like I feel like I do better when I can actually see it. You know what I mean?
Give me
But,
just
like,
give me like 10 seconds. Here.
yeah, if you want to do it, that's fine with me.
The arrows on these vectors are gonna look really shoddy. I'm sorry.
That's fine.
Oh fuck, you're probably not gonna. You know what? Here, I'll make this easy. Let's just do.
You know, that would,
What
be
Leo is
that would be
drawing?
like a really cool feature if StreamYard set that up to where you could like screen share a whiteboard or
You know
you know
what?
Oh, I have one of those.
like a digital board that you could write on with your finger or some other cursor.
Hold on here.
Do they have that on? They have it on Zoom, right? But did they have it on StreamYard? I never looked.
I don't think they have it on StreamYard. I didn't even know they had it on Zoom.
I have my iPad, which I hook up.
Come on, come on, come on. What the fuck is this?
Ooh,
What? You Hold on. There we go. That works. All right. And new drawing. Let's do. Yeah.
Dude, I hope you don't mind this becoming a physics lesson.
No, I don't care.
This isn't going to be that hard. I just got to figure out. Wait, hold on. Where do I go for color again? I can't.
Guys, I'm sorry, I've got to go. Love you all, and Happy New Year.
Happy New Year, Manny.
is it really? Wait a minute.
Bye-bye.
Is it really the new year for you, Manny?
No, not
Well,
yet. Huh?
No.
Is it?
Well, yeah.
I mean,
It's
I thought,
8 minutes to midnight. No, it's almost 11 here. 11 p.m.
Oh, wow.
no. What I'm saying is, I thought that like there was a different calendar for Jews.
Oh, you don't know? We don't call it New Year's. We call it Saint Sylvester's after the anti-Semite saint Sylvester. Yeah,
Okay.
we're that smart.
I'm going to
here in
share my
Israel.
screen. I'm going to share
You
my
guys
screen.
are so fucked up over there. I just I don't
Can
get
I,
me started.
Did you hear me speak?
Ian asked me to tell a joke. Can I tell a joke before I go? Would that be okay? A quick one?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so I hope you get it. Two Jewish mothers meet up,
Shit.
and one says to the other, don't ask what happened today. And the other one says, What happened? And she says, my husband, he brought me a bouquet of flowers. And she says, well, what's wrong with flowers? What's wrong with flowers? It means I have to spread my legs in the evening. And the other one says, why? You don't have a vase?
Okay.
I
Okay,
totally fucking missed that reading.
Oh
live.
shit.
Sorry.
Okay, bye guys, bye-bye.
Goodbye. Thank you, Manny, for that. If not nothing else.
So, and I'm drawing with my finger. So, go ahead, John, before I dive in here.
Oh no, I just was gonna say, like, I heard the punchline. Did it have anything to do with like sticking the vase up your ass or something?
Something along those lines.
Okay.
So, this white arrow that's in the center here, that's psi. That would be the vector representing your wave function. And then these other black vectors here would be what are called basis vectors of the vector space. I'm not going to get into what that means because it's not entirely relevant to what we're talking about. So you would say that this white vector, the psi vector is what I'm going to call it, the wave function, is in a superposition of these other four vectors. It's not, you haven't quote unquote projected, which is, so if you've got, let me go to a different color here. If you have your wave function here, you can take the shadow of it onto this vector where I have now projected it to that vector, or say this one over here. Or I shouldn't have done that. I shouldn't have done that arrow there. And I went to where the fuck?
I can't see it very well.
Why am I not drawing? Yeah, the red is not very dark for whatever reason. I don't know. Let me undo some stuff here. You can project it there, or you can take it.
Axes, plural.
AXES. So you can take this white vector, this your wave function, and project it onto these other vectors, and that would be quote unquote collapsing the wave function. Typically, you would use some linear. Oh shit! Let me pick a different color. Let me go back to like a white. I don't know why I picked pencil. It's not as dark. Let me try a marker. You would pick like O hat. It would be an operator, a linear operator, and you would use that to project of your wave function onto some other vector. And so like you take the shadow of it down, there's its projection onto that vector, there's its projection onto that vector. So these 4 black vectors would represent the superposition of states that the psi vector that your wave function is in. It isn't actually been projected to any of those vectors yet, but it could be projected to all of them. So you would state that the wave function here is in a superposition of states, which each one of these black vectors represents some possible observable. So hopefully that's a decent explanation of what a superposition actually is.
So if I may clarify on some things, so these vectors, do they represent solutions to the wave function, I guess? Like what exactly do they represent?
They would represent. So you're talking. I'm assuming. Let me go. Or this one of the ones that I drew in black. Yeah. Those would. You could say that they're more. These vectors would represent potential quantities that could be observed. So you could have, like, say, these might be position, these might be momentum, and you don't know. You could only really project it either onto these ones or onto these ones, but you can't do both at the same time. Obviously, Heisenberg's uncertainty principle. But when you project it, I might be wrong on this, but I think you have to scale the vector, which is, so as you can see, let me go back to red here. The shadow of it projecting gives you that vector, but that isn't the length of the actual vector. You have to, I think, scale it, and then that would be represented, I think it's lambda, I want to say, and that is the eigenvalue associated with that vector, which would equal essentially, and I'll do O in red here, that would equal the quantity of the observable that you're measuring. So that would be the quantity of, say, position or momentum or energy or time that you're measuring.
Okay. And it's a vector because it can evolve over time, I'm guessing?
Honestly, I don't know the answer to that question. I would say yes, I believe so, but I just know they're vectors because we map them in a vector space.
Oh, okay. So it's just how the math works, basically.
Yeah. All this right here is just linear algebra, and it's really not that hard at all.
Okay. Yeah. I sorry if I don't get some of the math concepts straight away. I think
sometimes it can take a while.
Yeah.
I'm just kind of doing some stuff here.
So like, well, like I guess thinking in terms of, say, the double slit experiment, because that's the common example out there, and it's kind of what I understand the best. So like some people say that when you fire a single electron, or like whatever the electron is doing, basically that it some authors would say that it kind of splits in two, or that it goes through both slits.
Yes.
And I guess what I was trying to ask, would it be maybe better to say it's a kind of like interference, like waves interfering with each other?
Yeah, it doesn't go through both slits, because then it would be a particle, and it's not.
The wave function can be described. So you've got, why did I use my mouse for that? I can't draw worth shit from it. So boom, you've got a wave function, you've got one axis, you've got the other axis. I should have done those in different colors. Just
Wait
to
a
make
minute. I turned away for a minute. Somebody showed their tits.
What?
I wish.
I don't know. Edward
Oh,
Shrek.
so that's
Said,
it.
oh, look, tits.
X-axis,
Uh,
T-axis. And so obviously here is where you're more likely to find a particle, whatever particle was called an electron, than here.
Right.
This
Okay,
this
I just
wave
figured out- I just
function
figured out why John
evolves
doesn't know
through both
physics.
slits.
right, John?
What's that?
I just figured out why you may not know physics. You get distracted by things like.
Yeah, well, yeah. My son, he says, "Oh, look, tits." I'm looking for tits.
So
Okay.
I was
Like
about to ask Leo that when he's done doing this, if he could draw a monkey, just so I could be interested for a minute too.
I don't know if I could very well, honestly. Gutsy Gibbon is not here; she can do a much better job. But in technical terms, you would say the wave function evolves through both slits, but doesn't collapse until it interacts with the detection screen on the other end. And once that happens, so wave function collapse. So that you have your wave function there, but a wave function that is collapsed would look. Why do I keep going back that far? Let's do. Our space would look. Damn it. I need to go back to red. Instead of the other one, it would look more like
A little blip, basically.
yep, like that. And so then go back to black. That is where you are, say, measuring, if this axis represents position, if I could fucking draw an X properly, then you would state that and then this one represented T. So you could see that for all times, this is where, or for the time of the observation, I should say, this again is where you're observing the position of it to be. Whereas an uncollapsed wave function, just a typical wave function, is something like that.
Right.
Now, obviously,
And-
I'm being a little simplistic here, but I think it makes the point.
Yeah. I think that's the base of what I can understand at this point. But like, I guess, so those points on the wave function, I'm guessing, represent like the likelihood or the solutions that are probabilistic, right? So like if you were to say in this model, the top of it or the highest point would be the most likely.
Yes,
place
that would
you
be
would
the most likely place. Axes don't generally dip like that, so ignore
Right.
that. But yeah, so you could say here is where you are more likely to make or is the quantity where you're more likely to make an observation. But here is also pretty likely. Here's a little bit likely, but someplace like here or here, it's not very likely at all.
How come those
Right.
tits aren't the same size?
Because they're Meg's tits.
Because physics.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, like, I guess I've heard it sometimes said that solutions to the wave function, or that rather thinking of a superposition as two classical states at the same time, that it's better to think of it as
That's a really poor
another
two.
state altogether.
That's a really poor looking two. There we go. God damn it.
Yeah,
That was more like some Greek thing. What the fuck is that? More like the
I
differential.
don't know. Why am I not? Did I forget how to draw twos? There was
I mean, what is it that you use as a cursor when you're doing that? What do you just
my
use?
finger.
Oh, just your.
I can't use my mouse very
Well,
well.
what I was gonna say is like using your finger. That's probably what's causing you problems.
Yeah. So this would be the two bars would represent absolute value. Obviously, psi is the wave function, and 2 means that you're squaring it. This would be the
Born rule.
that the square of the absolute value of the wave function is associated with the observable that you're measuring.
Okay, but what's the trident?
That's psi.
Oh, okay.
And psi is just another Greek symbol.
Okay.
Phi psi.
So
Psi.
this is phi psi.
Phi.
Sci-fi.
Why am I doing a Y? Psi.
Sci-fi.
Or you can
that.
do psi as, I think, something that looks similar to a Y. I can't remember how Sean Carroll
No, you
draws
did
it.
psi right. I like my
uppercase,
style like that.
uppercase psi, I think is I'm not even. I think it's more like that, whereas lowercase is just a U with a line. It's supposed to go all the way through it.
Yeah.
Sean Carroll has a different way of drawing it, but he can do it much better because he teaches this stuff.
So if that represents the probability distribution, the squaring of the absolute value of psi, or wait.
Well, it would be just psi that represents the distribution. Psi, the absolute value of psi squared would be what essentially you could word it as what you have to do to the wave function to get the observable out of it, to actually make the observation.
Right, and so we would consider a superposition of I guess two wave functions superimposed on each other to be a different a new state altogether. It'll be like
yes, that's correct. So let me go back to
I guess that's what I'm trying to ask is like, is a superposition a different state altogether than just two states added together, or both states at the same time? I guess that's what I'm asking.
Yeah, so when you let me go to red here. When you project this vector here, and now you have that, and then I again I'm fuzzy on this part. I think you scale it, and that's called lambda, and then that's the eigenvalue. That's what corresponds to the observable. This is a completely different state than this. Yes.
Okay. So it's not like it's not like in the same way that you add two water waves together and you get just like two waves that like add together. It's more like just a superimposed. Gosh, why can I not describe?
I think I get what you're trying to say, and I'm just going to say yes because I'm pretty sure I'm understanding what it is you're trying to get at.
Okay. Yeah, it's better to say it's a indeterminate state than to say it goes through both slits at the same time, right?
Yeah. I want to make sure I get my symbols right, so I need to go look something up here. So the fuck is so funny?
I now think mom is still just a little bit pissed.
So you could say that, and
I don't know.
let me make sure I'm getting this right here. There we go. Yes. So, and these two brackets here just represent bracket notation. They're just another way of saying that psi here is a vector. And so what happens when it collapses is it goes from that to that, and this would represent an entirely different vector than this, and thus corresponds to an actual observed state. Actually, hold on. Let me get my subscript there. That's an I, by the way, a lowercase I. No, it's not the imaginary unit. It's just a subscript.
Okay.
So you would state that the wave function... Get a different color here. No, can't do green. Let's do blue. You would state that a wave function collapses from that to that, whereas this represents the superposition, and this represents the basis eigenstate, or the basis vector that corresponds to the quantity that you're measuring.
Okay. So the one on the right is it describes what you're going, or what you're likely to see, what you're likely to measure.
Yes.
Okay.
It's okay, Danny.
Is Danny talking shit in the private chat? I haven't actually been on StreamYard to see.
No, he's just being very quiet.
Oh,
I just don't know about any of this, so there's nothing for me to say. Someone asked me why I was quiet, so I
Well, they're speculating in the chat that Danny's afraid to speak. I don't think.
No, I don't think so.
Ever afraid to speak. I think he.
John.
If anything, he's afraid to be quiet.
John, you're very cute.
Oh, really?
Oh boy!
Are you hitting on me?
In a way. Yeah.
You don't want to hit on John, man. He'll.
Anyway, both you guys are pretty cool, and Danny knows a fuck ton. So deserves respect.
Yeah, I would say Danny is far from a stupid person. Far from a stupid person.
Anyway.
Who implied that he was stupid?
Nobody. But I'm just speaking more generally.
He is a philosopher, though, and we have to make special. He's special.
I'll be a crocodile in this scenario, in the sense that, like, I don't know any of the science here, but as soon as I hear a philosophical claim, I'll pop out.
I'm sure you will.
Shit, wrong color. Oh, damn it! I went back to white. Nobody cares about the whites. I'm sorry.
So Leo, if I'm asked something, are you also, I guess, it is part of your expertise in general relativity as well?
Well, I'm not an expert in anything, but I understand what you're saying. I understand, like, basic aspects of general relativity. If you want to get, and I'm not necessarily that you do, but if we're talking like the rigorous vector calculus and differential geometry, I'm probably not the person to ask.
Oh, no. I just had another question about what exactly a geodesic is, because I often hear it as a like the longest time path, I guess, and I want to better understand what that meant exactly.
I can get to that in a second. I did want to do something really quick, just to kind of make things clear. C sub I does not equal K. So if this represents some given eigenstate, this is the Born probability, where the probability, the P, of observing some measurable is equal to the absolute value of that observable squared. And then here represents all other eigenstates, I guess you could say, with the does not equal sign. They do not equal, I guess that was why did I do that with my mouse? That's why it was a terrible circle. Do not equal your observable. So you would say that when a wave function, when you collapse a wave function, you get one observable, you would state, and there's a definite non-zero quantity associated with that. What this is saying is essentially that all other, and I did that with my mouse again, I'm sorry, that all other potential eigenstates have collapsed to a zero value, i.e. they haven't been observed. A geodesic, as I understand it, this is going to be a really bad drawing. Immutable can do it way better than I can. Let me try this.
A lot of women have told me that as well.
I'm not surprised. So a geodesic, and obviously you can see this is supposed to be a 3D sphere, is just as I understand it, is like the shortest path from 2 points on a sphere. I don't know how rigorous that definition is. Let me look it up just to make sure. Yeah, relating to or denoting the shortest possible line between 2 points on a sphere or some other curved surface. So if you were to do,
real quick, I just want to say to Agnostic Pagan, Pagan Mom, I'm not in a position to type right now. I just wanted you to know I saw your posts, and I appreciate that story.
So I don't know if I'm going to be able to do this. How would I draw this three-dimensionally? I don't know. I'm just going to draw a saddle. So, I mean, if you can imagine on a sphere, if you're looking like from sort of a cutaway and somebody drew a line, say on the surface of a sphere, it's going to look like that. Whereas on a saddle-like shape, it's going to look like that. Whereas you might have something that looks like that. It just depends on the curvature of the manifold. But if you've got some point A and some point B, and obviously a straight line is the shortest path, but on a curved manifold, the line isn't going to be straight. It's going to be curved in some way. That the shortest distance on a curved surface between these 2 points is called a geodesic.
And is that something they would use when calculating great circle routes?
I don't know. Is that like a surveying question? Because I really don't know.
Well, no, the great circle routes are like how you route like a plane trip. Or
oh yeah, I do believe they do use geodesics. Let me.
Where like you look on a map and from point A to point B, looks like it's so far, but because we're on a globe, your route is different and it ends up being shorter because you're going with the curve of the Earth or something. I'm not explaining it well.
In general relativity for Andrew, you could consider a geodesic. It's still the same as I defined it before, but they also call it a world line, and it just represents the space-time evolution of that object. If you had
Sure, I understand that.
space and time, this would be, and well, you need to be curved. So let me, where you've got a different geometry here, that would be the world line defining how that object is evolving in a curved manifold, in an irregular manifold, I think is the technical term.
Right. Okay. All right, that makes sense. Thank you.
I'm glad you didn't ask me about Christoffel symbols.
Well, I have no idea.
I'm so glad that he got out of that what he wanted, because I didn't understand any of it really.
Christoffel symbols. Why do I keep trying to move that notification? Christoffel symbols really aren't that hard. So if you've got like a manifold and you've got some vector in that manifold, and then you transform it across the manifold, so now it's in that position. The difference here, and that's somewhat of a curved line, we'll just picture it straight, can also be represented by a vector, and that would be, these letters really suck. That would be your Christoffel symbol. And you would take that and then input it into your, again, I might get this backwards. It's either that or the line is on the other side for mu. And then you would input that into the metric tensor. And it has something to do with you otherwise would not, without the Christoffel symbol, you wouldn't be capable of calculating the change between these two vectors to be able to work with the metric tensor, which I think it really just defines how things are changing on an irregular manifold. And so what we can do is we'll say if we have a vector that starts like this one at some point and it ends over here at some point, we can just take the difference. Again, that was really shitty. We can take the difference, map that as a vector, and then take that quantity and put it into the metric tensor, and that should give us the change that occurred, and we call those Christoffel symbols.
Christoffel Offerson. Christoffel
Offerson.
Christoffel Offerson. He wants to know if Christoffel is a popular country singer. He's not a country singer, but he was a folk singer, or is a folk singer. He's still singing. Chris Christopherson. Yeah, he's still singing. He's still acting too.
What is he, about 80 now?
He must be. Dylan is going to turn 80 this year. So,
you know that crazy Mandela effect shit.
Yeah.
Well, that's. I mean, I give it no credence at all. But probably 20 years ago, when I first heard about it, shortly after I heard about it, I saw something about Bob Dylan.
Bob Dylan.
Of course. And I thought he was dead already.
Oh yeah, that happened.
Yeah, well, and I thought, for just like a brief second, I'm like, oh, Mandela effect, like.
It's the Abe Vigoda effect. You heard about Abe Vigoda, right?
Yeah.
Like I'd heard that he was dead, and everybody was talking about him being dead, and then I started seeing him in movies for the next 3 years, and I'm like, what the fuck? So I looked the story up, and apparently over in France, he was supposed to show up at some party, and he showed up late, so they called him the late Abe Vigoda, and it went viral. And so he heard from all these, he read all these news articles about his death, and so he made a big joke out of it. And he actually is dead now, I think. He might rise up again.
Did he die? When did that happen?
I think a couple of years ago.
Yeah, because remember when Betty White hosted SNL? And then after that, there was like a big campaign or whatever to have SNL have Abe Vigoda host.
Yeah. Yep. Just to prove he's not dead. But it was amazing. I mean, everybody thought he was dead because it ended up in fucking newspapers. The late Abe Vigoda.
Abe Vigoda, fucking Barney Miller, and he was
Yeah.
the goddamn Godfather too.
Godfather. He was excellent in. That was pretty cool. Anyway, Boomer talk, man. You youngins probably don't know what we're talking about.
Shut the fuck up.
You youngins don't get it.
Yeah, too bad Benny's not still here. He'd probably think that Abe Vigoda's like a type of wine.
Yeah. He would. Anyway. Okay, guys, I think we should quit. I need to go make my dip.
Yeah.
My 7-layer dip. Anyway, so Danny, you and I have got to do our dualism. I want you to explain why the fuck you're a dualist. But not now.
Sure, yeah.
Okay.
No problem.
Yep, Abe Vigoda died January 26, 2016.
Yeah, 4 years ago already. Holy shit, that's too bad.
He avoided the Trump era.
Yeah, well, good for him.
Yep.
I don't know. Hopefully we can all avoid it for the rest of our lives now. I don't know. Okay, guys, I'm going to end the stream.
Fucking Ian. Oh my God. Isn't a dualist a fencer?
I love Ian. Okay, goodbye, guys. Ending the broadcast. Goodbye out there.